Welcome back, people of everywhere, to another session of not R&R anymore. I have changed it, so I do need to think of a new opener. Please be patient. I know that is what you all care about.
Oh, yeah.
So, in honor of my very first film review, I am back with my friend Matt Inman.
Is it really an honor?
Maybe not an honor. We are reviewing another horror movie in the month of January. So last year we both saw Bye Bye Man, and that broke us to the point where we have had to see specialists to get over what it has done to us. Luckily, this film was not near as bad. This was Insidious, The Last Key. So, since we are both kind gentlemen, we will start with the positives of the film. And I think the biggest one, which Bye Bye Man also had going for it, is that there were no false jump scares. There were no cats jumping out of a cupboard.
Bird flying from a bush.
Or, our favorite, hey!
Whoa! That was really scary.
And with a loud ear-piercing noise. This had none of that. Every jump scare was genuine. It was exactly what you needed to be afraid of. I will also say, as far as the directing goes, this one was not directed by James Wan. I don't know who directed it.
I don't know their name, but they did The Taking of Deborah Logan, which is a really, really good movie. It was on Netflix for a while, but it's not on there anymore, so...
He knows more than I do.
That's not new.
Oh. But I will say that the directing was fine for what this film was trying to go for.
It's completely serviceable. Just like the rest of the movie, it's completely serviceable.
Yeah, most of the film is pretty run-of-the-mill. There's nothing spectacular. But for what we usually get in January, Bye Bye Man. Whatever Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie came out. I think it was 3D. Yeah.
Cool.
So this movie was a welcome gift for what we usually get in
Felt
January.
like a warm embrace
From
after
an
a long,
old
harsh
friend.
winter.
During a long, harsh winter.
Yeah.
And also, the lead actress in this one, Elise, from all of the other Insidious movies, she was actually pretty good. You learn more about her backstory. It actually starts off with her as a child, and you learn about her dealing with these psychic powers she has and what comes into her life because of that.
She really is like the bread and butter of this franchise as a whole, and especially in this movie you really feel it because it focuses in on her. Like, this movie wouldn't have been nearly as good, I don't think, with another protagonist.
No.
I don't think.
Also, one thing that I was really happy to see in it, though we said that the film itself was pretty run-of-the-mill, there were some plot points that really caught everyone in the theater off guard. I'm not going to tell you what it is, no spoilers, but it was a shock, to say the least, where they decided to go. But with the shock of that is also where we can get into the negatives, which is the plot tends to bounce around to what exactly it wants to focus on.
Yeah, it does a lot of bouncing back and forth between what it really wants you to focus on, and then it just kind of ends up getting lost in the shuffle. I feel like a lot of points. It regains its feet.
Yeah, it does.
Towards the end, but it does a lot of stumbling along the way.
Like, at some parts, characters will just seem to be just injected into the plot to, like, harshly enough where you know, oh, they're going to be essential later. This isn't just a conversation. We are setting stuff up. And it just kind of shoves it in your face. Now, while this isn't a negative exactly, I wouldn't call it a positive either, but I will say that the two comedy relief characters that follow Elise around, the ghost hunters,
Yeah.
they were fine. They had some really funny moments, but some of their comedy tended to cut the tension when it didn't need to be cut.
They work just as often as they don't work. It's a really, like, 50-50, really toss up in the air if the joke is gonna work or not, and that kind of, like, some of their shit had me rolling, but then the other times it really kind of was cringe-inducing and didn't really fit with the vibe that was going on at the time, so it's kind of
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you exactly what the scene is or when in the film it is, but as soon as we walked out of the theater, I turned to him and I said, they took an exact jump scare from the first movie to the point where there is no denying that that's what it was. Mm-hmm. It was cheap. Yes, it made people in the theater jump, which is the point, but it really was just lazy.
I'm just like, it worked the first time, why not do it again?
Yeah.
Nobody will notice, right?
But I did. I will give you a warning before I say this next negative. It's not anything major, it's really slight. But if you do not want to hear it, then just mute it. Mute this video until this timestamp. At the very end, it ties directly into the first film, to the point where it really seemed very tacked on at the last second to give rounded full closure to everything. And while it was kind of cool to see what I call the Darth Maul demon for a split second, it really was just, oh, remember that movie we made? Remember this one? It was 8 years ago.
The member berries.
The member berries. And welcome back if you just paused the video. You didn't really miss anything important, really just nitpicking.
A couple personal nitpicks of my own, actually. One of them is the creature in question. What'd you say it was called?
If I saw it correctly, in the credits, this thing was called Key Face.
Right on. Key Face itself as a creature, kinda underwhelming when you see the full visage of him, and that seems to kind of be a pattern with a lot of these horror movie mascots that we have going on nowadays. I'd compare it a lot to the Crooked Man from The Conjuring 2, where the concept is really cool and the look at base level is really nice, but the overall creature as a whole is really just average. It's not really anything special.
Like I said to him, and this might not make sense to everyone, but it really looked like a Guillermo del Toro creature in the sense that it was not really scary looking, but really just more, for lack of a better word, fantastical. Like, it has keys for fingers. Like, they do utilize that at certain points where it is kind of creepy, but I really think that the best creature they've had is from the first film, which is the Darth Maul demon.
A small nitpick of mine, too, and this is the smallest thing in the world, but I mentioned it to you also. The opening and closing credits to this movie. I feel like somebody just kind of threw it together in Windows Movie Maker in the 90s for a made-to-TV movie. It's like you couldn't have thrown a few extra bucks to your credits.
Like, during the ending credits, I said that it looked like a PlayStation 1 render. Like, and then he said Silent Hill 1. Like, it really did look bad.
It's not good.
It was cheap.
I don't understand.
But, all in all, I would say that even though this is a pretty streamlined horror movie that we've been getting a lot of, it does its job well and has good moments of tension, building up tension, and when it breaks, it does a good job. The side characters aren't too unbearable, even if some of them seem either pointless or just shoved in your face. I would give Insidious: The Last Key a B-.
Yeah, you could definitely do a whole lot worse for your money in January, and if you're looking for something to give you a scare this time of year, I mean, you can't really go wrong with it. It's not bad at all. I'd give it probably a 6.5 out of 10 overall. There's nothing too of merit in it, but there's also nothing so god-awfully terrible that I can't complain either way.
Right. Thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to tune in next time for more.